welcome to another Maz Play video. This is MazMojito, and today we're going to be getting into a underwater city builder. We're playing Aquatico. Let's get to it.
We were bound for the stars, but the stars had other plans for us. Our cities were bright. We were walking in the sunlight. And then, Nimrod struck. Arriving from the stars, the asteroid obliterated our world. Radiation spread. The climate changed, and sea levels increased. The oceans were our demise, but now they're a chance for survival. Beneath the waves, we will find a new home, and you will be there to build it.
Alright guys, we're jumping right in here. First things first, we gotta find a good location for our home base. As you can see, there's some color coding there. The colors represent the different biomes. As you can see at the bottom, there is a nice little legend that tells you what the colors represent. We're gonna try to get somewhere where we have some nice fertile area so we can grow some crops. And our home base pod is dropping down so that we can use it to start building up our underwater city. Alright, nice little cutscene there. So yeah, this is a underwater builder. The drones do all the work. As you can see right there, they're building our main compound.
Greetings, Seaman. I'm Warren Yates, Senior Executive Assistant to the
And we will
Atlantis
get
HQ.
instructions from gentlemen
I'm here to make
and
sure
people
that
like
this,
this.
our latest colonial attempt, goes smoothly. As you've probably noticed already, the last one didn't turn out productive. I'm pleased to see the descent has gone according to the neatly timed plan, and indeed time is of the essence, as you must surely know. I'm positive you're eager to show Atlantis HQ that they were right to put you in command. You've shown great resourcefulness, and your aptitude tests and your behavioral evaluation were perfect. Your next task is to continue spreading and strengthening the colony, and gradually work your way to research and upgrade your subsurface base.
Alright, so we got our objectives here from the gentleman there with the message as far as giving us the task. This is the tutorial phase of the game. As you can see, they have nice little big arrows and flashing areas for you to focus on. And you just have to follow along with the different instructions that pop up on the right side of the screen. But if you are familiar with city builder type games, this should come as no surprise. A lot of these menus are very similar across all the different builders. It's just the scene and the plot is a little bit different, where you're actually building on the ocean floor. Now, there have been plenty of ocean-based Waterworld-like games, but most of those take place just above the surface, where you have to dive underwater every now and then to get some resources. In this case, we're actually building on the sea floor, and all the sea life is kind of swimming around you. So right now, I'm just going through all the tutorial instructions. Full disclosure, I have played this game for a little bit, got pretty decently far, a pretty decent size outpost, but then as usual I took a very long break from the game So I'm just kind of reintroducing myself and you all, the audience, to the game, just to see how it, see if I can remember some things and see if I can build a more efficient base. Because obviously the first time I played, I did not build an efficient base and probably got stuck, more likely. I'm not sure. It's been a while since I've played this, but I like the concept. I like the graphics. I like city builders, as you guys probably know by now by the content on my channel. And we will see how we do. As usual, I will keep my comments to a minimum. And then we'll just kind of go along through this tutorial. And hopefully we can get to the first scenario when we're past the tutorial and actually start managing our work. So as you see, you got the job board there. Very similar to all the other builder games that I've played, whether it's Land of Vikings, Banished, there's quite a few. Basically you have a list of jobs there, and then you kind of pick your profession. Some of your newer games, Manor Lords and other games like that, all have the same kind of recipe. A bunch of professions. You fill up your drones, I guess, for different professions, and you leave quite a few drones left over for building new buildings. So but we got to get the buildings down, we got to get the power linked up, we got to get food and water supplies to our residents once we get residential buildings built up, and we have to have our production facilities go on full strength, making sure that they're in the right biomes or areas so that they can pull the resources that we need to supply the outpost, the underwater city. So I'm gonna be a little finicky when it comes to placement, because that's just how I am. I really like to line things up and get some good spacing, but I'm also gonna be using that fast forward button a lot so that we're not sitting here slowly watching the building get built. I'm just gonna double speed it up, and that way we can keep the game moving. So what you'll notice in this game is you don't really have roads like you do in some of the other city builder type games, but what you do have is power lines so that you can connect the buildings to different power sources, and you can use that power. In this case, the power is being generated using the oil that's being farmed up from the seafloor. They're converting that to power, and then there's other forms of power that you can do, like which you'll see you can harvest the power of the tides. So you'll have like some water power, and you'll need pipelines. Pipelines is kind of like your lifeblood, but pipelines also take like 1 square of space. So you really kind of have to plan out the paths that your pipelines are going to take as you're like pushing energy and oil and other power sources around your map, around your city. It has a nice little design there as you connect the power lines and sources, and eventually you'll get aqueducts. You'll be able to actually see them built, and you'll actually see the lines coming from the power lines, and you'll be able to see them flex around and bend and curve as you need. But it does build in a very straight line or hard angles, so you can't like do too many curvy type setups. Everything is going to be very straight, very linear. But the buildings look great for underwater city. I mean, nice and shiny, great graphics, and just have that nice little glisten, you know, because they're supposed to be underwater. So like I said earlier, I try to maximize my space, because eventually when you build these cities up really big, kind of like want to have like some zones, maybe your power zone, your resource zone, you know, where it's focused on producing certain resources, but you don't have a lot of space. But you do want to leave a gap because you need to connect power and pipelines all over your city. Like in this case, I'm trying to connect to that pipeline, but I need to get all the way down here to this one so that it can automatically connect there, and you'll see the pipe actually appear on screen. Just trying to get that linked up, and there you go. And it'll give you a message too once you're linked up, because the building will no longer have like a red exclamation point saying this building has no power, or whatever it needs. It will always tell you what it's short on, and it's just up to you to connect the buildings together using those pipelines. So this has drawn my attention over here to actually set up some sponge collection. So sponge collection is like one of the resources in the game, either for food or trade, and eventually you'll be able to unlock all these different technologies, which will allow you to unlock even more buildings as you play. But you just have to fast forward time, because a day in this game lasts probably roughly 10 to 20 minutes. So you can just kind of fast forward the time to quickly unlock all those tech recipes. And when you do that, you'll see your buildings grid will start populating with more things you can actually put down, as long as you have the resources and supplies for them, and you have available drone builders to put them together. So we're gonna send our drones out. If not the drones, there's usually little guys in underwater suits that will go out and collect things that the drones can't collect. And those are going to usually be your aquanauts, which are basically your humans that are working side by side with the drone to do hunting or to do other things that the drones are probably not as efficient to do. So we're trying to put our habitat down, because all of our aquanauts will basically live in this habitat, which is kind of like a closed off bubble city. It's elevated up a little higher than the seafloor, but I'm speeding up time here. As you can see, my drone is building that real quick. And there you go. And there's your platform. So now you can actually put your residential shelters down, or buildings. And here's one building. So As you can see, the areas that are red, you can't place them, but you can rotate your buildings around, squeeze them in nice and tight. Eventually you'll be able to unlock bigger building platforms so that you can put more buildings in place, but for now we're starting off with 2. And as you can see, our people are able to walk around here because it's a giant dome to seal out all the water and pump oxygen into the habitat. So you can set up like your houses, your parks, your shopping centers, all that kind of stuff. There are different keys that you hit to change the different views. There's a lot to look at in these little menus, but if you're used to these kind of building games, it shouldn't come as a major surprise because they're all pretty much set up the same way. So here we're going to start using the power of water and tides to start generating power. So we're putting some power generators down here, the three bladed, kind of like underwater windmills, but those are going to give us a source of energy. All we have to do is connect them to the different buildings so that they can get some power. So the red arrow there, the indicator, tells me that this is built, but it's not connected to anything. So we fixed that by putting our pipelines down, just like I said earlier. And anywhere that's in the blue is where we can put the pipelines down, and we just want to snap it to a blue area next to the building we're trying to supply power to. So right now I'm just trying to find a good path to maybe connect up to that, and then we can get this going, and you actually see the pipes coming down as I place them. So start off with that one. It can get a little tricky to get used to this, but eventually, you know, when you position and angle correctly, you'll get it down. Even if you have to click one at a time. But the key is to see those lines coming from it and see any red error messages go away. And if you don't have space on one side, you can always try to find another path where you can pull power in. Okay, so that's going. As you can see, the animation, the blade spinning, it's supplying power to my habitat. And I got a message up in the upper left that there's been new research completed, so I can now go into my research tab and start having them look up a new technology to learn. So in this case, our habitats need oxygen, so we're gonna have to put a oxygen generator down and make sure that the oxygen generator has power. Now the oxygen generator and many of these other buildings have little circles around them. That just tells you that is the designated area for any kind of pipes so that you can bring power in. So we're going to go ahead and get that set up. It's actually blinking to tell us what you're supposed to be putting down next. But the tutorials are really helpful. As you can see in the upper right, they always keep advising you so you never really get lost in the game to the point where you want to give up or quit on it or whatever. But it's just slow pace, and you just got to remember to keep fast forwarding things so that you're not sitting there waiting for the drones to build buildings. Especially if the drones are busy and then they got to come from the other side of the seafloor just to finish the construction. Okay, occasionally you'll get these pipe breaks, and you just gotta address it by selecting it and using a repair option. And usually they will send someone over to fix it. Anywhere you see those little red circles with the line crossed through it, that's an error. You gotta take care of that quickly because power or resources is not flowing through that broken pipe. So as you can see, things continue to go along. We got our oil rig going, the refinery going, power is being produced. We got our habitat down, so we got all the basic building blocks. We got sponge collection going for food resources, and now we're going to start working on a battery factory, which is going to help out with keeping the drones powered, and because that's pretty much your workforce, your builder force basically. And the more drones you have, the more buildings you can have going on, and the more collection you can have going on. Okay, so far so good. And we just got a message up in the upper left. No homes for people, so that means that we need to jump back to our habitat, our residential facility, and start dropping more houses down, because as our community gets more efficient, starts getting more supplies in and food in, more aquanauts, or residents, underwater residents, are going to start showing up, and you need to have a place for them to live. So we're gonna pop a couple more houses in here, and I could leave a space in between them, but sometimes I'd like to just stack them side by side just to kind of get as much as I can in here. And then you can look at the little comments from the people as well. They kind of tell you what they want you to add, whether it's a park or a place to sit or shopping or whatever. As you unlock those different buildings from the research tab, you can start adding those into the habitat facility. But the key point is to make sure that it has power, it has oxygen, and that you keep some kind of food collection going. And you just kind of keep researching, keep unlocking more tech, and you keep the power going. So oil platforms are going to be huge in this game, because the more buildings you pop down, the more power you're going to need. Alright, so we got 3 oil refineries going. We're gonna quadruple our output and connect them all together so we won't have any problems with power and resources. So at this point in the game, I think we've been going at it for a while. We're gonna go ahead and put a bookmark in the video. Really like this game, took a long break, and I'm happy to come back and play it again. So hopefully you guys really like the series, and you can let me know in the comments. So as usual, I'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch my videos. Please remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe because it really helps out the channel. And we will see you in the next video.